Welcome to the channel. This is going to be a short video about a little bit of a chicken and egg situation that has arisen as a result of the release of the Early Start DLC. Now, to give you some backstory, is the fact that before the Early Start DLC was released, there was already a substantial mod produced by Nova, which relates to horses and carts, which was one of the primary forms of transport if you started in 1900. And of course, these had their own kind of feeding stations. So you've got these little feeding stations here. But you will see that all these feeding stations have to be built. There is no free version. So if I drop down one here, that was not a problem prior to the release of the Early Start DLC, because there was this anomaly, because the way that the mechanic worked then was the fact that there was a bit of a bug where if you put a little bit of fuel in there, the horse-drawn wagons would drink a little bit of fuel then before they could actually, and then go to using, and then that would give enough fuel to be able to build this using horse-drawn wagons. What happened with the Early Start DLC, that broke it. Now there has been a fix put in place. This is part of the 1.1.09 update, which currently at the moment is in the test branch in Steam. Actual fix has been very efficient, because what the devs have actually done now is kind of created a new category. So if we go and look into vehicles now and show you here, there's now a section called horse drawn, and they've got their own category, and of course they've got their own fueling conditions, which means that they can't drink fuel anymore. Horse-drawn wagons only can eat crops, and fuel-based vehicles can need a proper gas station. So the little bit of a cheat where you could build either a free gas station or a crop station and get all vehicles to go to it is over. That's also been fixed in a kind of indirect way with related to the coal feeding stations as well. If you're not familiar with those. We come in here, there's these coal feeding stations, and there is actually a free one here. And to be honest, I've checked this out and it's a bit clunky, and a full discussion of this is outside the remit of this video. We cut, and just to kind of demonstrate what I've just been talking about, if we put down a free gas station, we'll keep everything tight together. This is very bad design, by the way, guys. And if I put down a free distribution office here, and if we pop in here and buy a oil wagon, I'll get a 2-horse oil wagon here, come down to here, send you to the free distribution office, let the game run, set you up here, load, drop off at the free gas station, set that to 50%, and what will happen is that this little horse-drawn wagon will come in here and he will decide to go and bring out the fuel. Now if you look at his actual description menu, you'll see he's already, like all vehicles when they're first purchased, there is very low on fuel. So what will happen is he'll go into here, pick up the fuel. Quite interesting, he's using the center, and he will come into here and drop off the fuel just like this. And of course, prior to the Early Start DLC, what this wagon will do is come out to here, turn around and go back in and refuel, but you can see he hasn't refueled. So it go down here and you can see the fuel's getting lower and lower. If we just kind of wait for him to run out of fuel. Oh no, he's going for one more load. I think it's because the distance is so short. I think when I did my test run, the fuel depot was down here, so he had to go a little bit further before he ran out of fuel. But he will run out of fuel eventually, and then what he should do is return to the distribution office. There he goes. And once he gets here, it turn around and say, I've got no more fuel, I can't do anything. So the solution, so we got the horse-drawn feet. So we're now in a situation where we've got a gas station here with fuel in, and we've got a horse feeding station that needs to be built. So if I now put in a free construction office here and drop you in here, set him up very, very quickly with everything. Now, the solution to this dilemma, and in fact it's the solution if you want to do it a proper way, is actually a mod. It's called Nesselsdorfer First Truck by Turnet18. And if I come in, well, if we go up onto here and open this up, if I type NW, because this is the actual name of the truck, what you'll see is you've got a whole range of little trucks here, which I think they're officially steam trucks. They were a prototype, so you could probably say that these were probably one of the first trucks ever built. In the mod it says 18 something, 18, it starts before 1900 and it runs out at 1908. But of course there's a kind of setting in the game which won't allow vehicles earlier than 1900. In fact, a little bit of a tip here, if you go back to 1880 with your vehicles, what will happen is they will all show up as 1900 even if they expire before 1900, because the game can't seem to go back beyond 1900. That makes any difference. So you've got a nice range of these vehicles, but I don't think they cover everything. Plus, of course, that you want some of the load carrying on this is very, very small. So therefore you want to use the horse-drawn wagons. So what we're going to do is come down to here, pick up this here, and what we're going to need, we'll turn the workshop on. We're going to need a bus. So we got a little bit of an omnibus here, so we could buy here. But this road train is, I think, it's the first steam vehicle that arrives. But this will run on fuel, as far as I know. I haven't really tested that. So we need a bus, a dumper. You can see it carries 2.5 tons of gravel, and we need an open hole to carry some boards. And what you'll see is these guys will come down to here and park up here, and they will probably go to the gas station first because they run out of fuel. No. They're obviously confident. Again, I think it's because I'm using such a compressed setup. Oh no, yeah, they are going to the gas station. Yeah, I forgot. I thought I was looking at this. All these buildings look the same. So what you'll see now is that these guys will go back here. They picked the auto detects picked up the horse feeding yard, which is here, and of course it's a two-stage build. The first thing is we need a couple of tons of gravel, which I think this guy's gone to get, and so he's just going to go up to here. Must admit, one of the reasons why I like 1900 starts is the fact that the vehicles look really cool. I think it's is he got a driver on the front? He's actually got a driver on the front. That's quite rare, actually. And of course, what we need is a workforce here. So that we got the bus now that's picked up here. He's got a whole 12 workers on. When you start in 1900, don't expect to do anything really quickly. The pace of life and this way things develop is very, very slow in 1900. But you get there. The important thing when you start in, well, all early starts, but especially 1900, is you've got to plan for the future, but build very small to begin with. And that's the reason why a 1900 start is always very intense with respect to mods. In fact, you can't really start in 1900 without using mods, as we're already demonstrating here. It's just not viable. So what we've got to do now is just deliver 1 ton of boards, and our little wagon will go chug up to there, and he will come back down, deliver, I think one should deliver 1 ton of boards to the feeding yard. Luckily, these don't need electricity, because of course the map I'm playing on at the moment has no electricity. Just to show you the map, just out of curiosity. This map's not available in the workshop at the moment. It will be eventually. This is a map that I'm currently working on for my next series, but it's not quite finished yet. But it will eventually be available in the workshop. That should now build that horse feeding yard. And then in theory, what should happen then is once you've built that horse feeding yard, the next thing we're going to have to do is get, well, just to kind of demonstrate, if I come into, we can't, we have to, what we'll do now is, so the horse feeding yard is finished. So if I come into here, and what we'll do, just to kind of demonstrate how it used to work, get a covered hole. The 2 horse one's probably the biggest one. Go there, come to here, tell you to go to there, and of course what we will do is set this up to drop off there, and as soon as he comes into here, you can say pick up crops, unload crops. We don't need the fuel delivery, which is the way you used to get round the bug. Yeah, in before the early update was thing, you had to deliver one single delivery of fuel to activate them, but that isn't required anymore. Even though if you actually look at the mod, we go back to horse here, you'll see that it says oil tank 1 ton. So what you'll see now is this will deliver some crops here. This guy will wake up, but more importantly, this guy will turn around and go back in. That's how it used to work with the fuel stations. So what we got now is we've got the two of them working. So that's it for if you do start in 1900 and you are using wagons and you suddenly think, well, how do I get that crop station? That's how you do it. You just go and subscribe to the other mod for the first trucks. Those first trucks look quite useful as well, besides the fact they look pretty good as well. So that's how you get past that initial chicken and egg situation. Hopefully that when you do it, you come up with a far better design than what I've just done here. But until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.